in heat number 1. So that's a great final day for Caitlin Sanders.
Currently sits in third place, but Annie Forrest is just 11 points back in her 11th career CrossFit Games appearance. Women's in spot 11 through 20 are trying to just get themselves inside the top 10. Mal O'Brien and Helen, a pair of 17-year-olds. They have been absolutely incredible here so far at the games. Dave Castro just had to pick up the pieces from what the men just take this event back together. I think the women are going to destroy this.
This has been completely changed after what we saw the men do. They basically took a 12-minute AMRAP interval style into a 2-minute sprint. And I cannot wait to see what Tia Toomey and Laura Horvath do to this event. Having such a big lead, they can afford to just go for it for the first round.
Let's give it out to Nikki Ranger on the field.
Good morning, guys. It's probably the most Wisconsin-themed event that you'll see here over the course of the weekend. We've got cheese curds and we've got bales of hay. And although this is the first time that these are going to be done on the competition floor this weekend, not the first time that many of these athletes have dealt with these at the CrossFit Games. So pay special attention to what many women are wearing. The hay can be the cheese scratching, can sometimes leave a rash. It's the last thing you want to think about when you're doing your burpees. So many of the ladies have shown up this morning wearing leggings.
Thank you, Nikki. All 20 athletes will go on the field at the same time. And Tia Toomey, your overall leader, will be in lane 11. Kristen Wilkie is trying to pull up. Annie Forrest-Daughter will be in lane at number 10. If Annie Forrest-Daughter can erase that 10-point deficit, she will finish on the podium for the 5th time, or pardon me, 6th time in her career.
And this is an event that Annie Forrest-Daughter has an opportunity to absolutely destroy. 11 points back of Holta. Holta is in a tough position because of that yoke, but what we saw is that you can't really pick and choose strengths and weaknesses based off the yoke. It's about positioning and keeping that for the intensity of the movement.
First 2-minute intervals is underway.
3, 2, 1, full send. Tia has been competing with herself since the very first event 4 days ago. Pushing the paces of unbroken sets on ring muscles and bar muscles when no one else would because she can. Pushing the pace on something like a pegboard because why not? I can't wait to see what she attempts to do here in the first 2 minutes of this event.
She will have solidly entrenched in their spots in the overall leaderboard. First and second overall.
Sean, the last time we saw a yoke competition at this weight was the final event in 2018. The 2 athletes that went 1 and 2 are the 2 athletes on the top of the leaderboard with Tia and Laura. But it was Laura that took that event over Tia Toomey.
425 pounds on the yoke. That's Tia Toomey.
Forrest-Daughter is to the yoke first.
35 seconds here. Here's Tia Toomey and Laura Horvath. Catherine Davis are on there as well. And Laura Horvath had a good pace going, but just got too forward on that. She's back to work.
You can't run with this.
Toomey out front. At the bottom of your screen, Horvath is on the right of her. 15 seconds to go in this window. Horvath now playing even with Toomey. Toomey continuing to work. She has yet to put that yoke down. 4 seconds to go.
Gotta get past the black.
No! Tia Toomey just a couple of feet short. I don't know what to say watching this, the dominance that is continuing on the floor and on the field with Tia Toomey. It is incredible what we are seeing right now.
Is it too early and selfish to ask her to come back for 6? fast. She is actually faster on the yoke if she's in control than Tia Toomey is. But the problem now is that she's going to have to get there about 5 to 7 seconds faster than Tia. For the trick on the yoke, stand up, then walk. You cannot start walking right from the stand. You have to establish that so your yoke doesn't swing back and forth.
Second 2-minute round is underway. This will be the last round for Tia Toomey and Laura Horvath.
One of the things we don't talk about in GHD sit-ups is the effect that it has on your legs and your hip flexors. The GHD sit-up isn't a ab workout, right? Your abs are getting sore because they're securing your midline, but it's all hip flexors and legs, which can really take away from your stability on the yoke.
Annie Thorisdottir was one of the first women to the cheeseburger rugby over the hay. She's on the left of your screen in the white shirt and black leggings. Laura Horvath is in the middle, second place overall. And then Tia Toomey in the red pants and white shirt looking for her 8th event win of the competition. One more for Tia Toomey and one more for Annie Thorisdottir. They just had to put that curve up and over, and then they will head back to the yoke. Annie Thorisdottir and Kristen Holta. Holta on the left. Annie Thorisdottir trying to erase that 10-point deficit to move to the third. Tia Toomey sprinting to the yoke. A couple of feet left. Win number 8 for Tia Toomey. Gabriella McCullough got in. Laura Horvath is across. And I think Holta may have beaten Thorisdottir. It was close, but Thorisdottir got her chip across. A second ahead of Holta, so Thorisdottir will cut Holta's 10-point lead for third place in half. That was great for Annie, but even better for Holta, only to lose 5 points in her event just because she's not the stronger of the two athletes. But when it comes to the yoke, you can't really say whether barbell one rep max is going to equate to an odd object max like a yoke carry. And I hope they're keeping the game's record book in pencil because you're going to have to keep erasing it because Tia Toomey keeps rewriting it. Now 32 career wins, the most ever. And if you watch the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge, this is a young girl from Tia Toomey's gym, and she's saying hi to her. She actually took her out of the competition for the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge. It was a great moment. And as good as Tia Toomey is a fitness, she's an even better person.
Absolutely, and that's what you want to see is ambassadors of the sport, but also ambassadors of the CrossFit community and what that is really all about. You're not a different person outside the barricade than you are to the athletes competing on the competition floor. That's the beauty. That's why everyone is so drawn to this competition. That's what makes the CrossFit Games special because we can empathize and understand what they're going through, and they also appreciate the position that they're in as well.
There are 11 women left working here in this third 4 intervals. This one also 2 minutes. Ram Trucks, the only truck brand to win Motor Trailer Truck of the Year 3 years in a row. Visit ram.com to learn more. Katie Adams in 5th place overall. You saw her working away. Couple seconds left. She's going to make it into the blue.
That's tough.
That's exactly Rolf at the other end of the field who got into the blue as well. Emily Rolf has an event win under her belt. She's at event 10. So you open up day number 3. Rolf currently sits in 16th place overall. There's Christy Airbowl O'Connell, who is in 6th place coming into this event. Final airbowl will be 3 minutes long.
13th event after 4 days. And a completely different test than we've seen so far of the first 12 that we had. We've had a lot of vertical stuff, a lot of pulling, some pushing, snatch, cleans, run. This type of just massive core snatch from front to back, and then vertical with that roll. It's just such a unique test because of look at the difference of finishes within this event. When was the last time outside study that lasted more than an hour? Have you seen an 8 to 10 minute difference between finishing athletes? And that's a really cool, I would say, exposure of a lot of athletes out here in the competition field. So yet again, we have another unique piece of the puzzle as we build that programming picture leading into the final event.
Row is the official equipment supplier of the 2021 Noble CrossFit Games and the official air bike of CrossFit. Christy Airbowl O'Connell on her 8th cheeseburger burpees over that 4-foot knee rail, 70 pounds of a curve. 3 minutes here in this final interval. Haley Adams again, 5th place overall. She will be 14 points back of Annie Forrestdottir for 4th coming into this event. Christy Airbowl O'Connell will next one back at Adams 6th.
Here's the deal. None of these 3 movements by themselves are anything these athletes are not used to. But it's the combination of the 2 leading into the GHD that is what's really beautiful about this event. Snatching the core on the GHD, snatching it on the posterior side with the sandbag. And when you get to the yoke, it's not like a barbell or say heavy back squat where your hips are behind your shoulders. You gotta get your hips underneath the butt.
3, 2, 1, go.
Time for the penultimate team event here at the 2021 Noble CrossFit Games. It is team event number 12 here at the Alliant Energy Center's North Park in Madison, Wisconsin. Amanda Krenz is our reporter down on the field. The 2009 CrossFit Games champion is Tanya Wagner. My name is Joel Jordan. After 11 events, CrossFit Mayhem is exactly where you would expect CrossFit Mayhem to be. In first place over CrossFit Oslo, trying to become the first ever European team to finish on the podium. Not to take away from CrossFit Silverton, who's trying to accomplish the exact same thing. Event number 12 out here at the North Park. It's a little bit of a twist on the old class.
A very pretty twist on a very familiar workout with Diane. 21-15-9 of deadlifts and handstand push-ups. Her handstand push-ups have to be synchronized with all 4 athletes, and they're strict. And that barbell right there is a fat barbell weighing 805 pounds.
Time cap is 9 minutes. We do not expect to need that for many, if any, of these teams.
This one is going to be a race, and really you're going to just go as slow as your slowest handstand push-up athlete.
Let's introduce you to the third member of our team. of Fitness with CrossFit Mayhem in the lead. They're in the middle. In lane 5, CrossFit Oslo is in second place. The jockey point is really for that final podium spot. Surbiton right now hanging on to it, but being chased down by CrossFit Pro 1 and by CrossFit Urban Energy. Mayhem right now just trying to kind of have that victory ride here. Rich Froning has won 8 times via a team or an individual here at the CrossFit Games. But this would be the first for the 3 competitors combined.
And he just broke another one of his own records, and that is that they are leading by 199 points. That's the largest margin of victory in team's history to this point. Man, I can't wait to see these guys demolish this event. Pro 1, we haven't talked about them since really day 1 when they had the best games finished with a team ever on day 1.
Except for that.
Except for Mayhem. So good to see them back in the mix. And Urban Energy in 5th place right now, sitting with 23 points outside podium position, tied with Pro 1. This is going to be a race between these two. This is the battle between these two teams.
Urban Energy was in second after day 2, fell to 8th, and worked their way back up after a second place finish in event 11 to start today. Again, this is a 9-minute time cap. We do not expect to need that on a 21-15-9 rep scheme. This deadlift bar is 805 pounds. That is the equivalent of lifting a racehorse for each of these teams.
It is with the strength and the dominance of these athletes. If you were here with the individual side of competition, and then just with 605 pounds, and 200 pounds heavier for the barbell here, and they have a few more athletes to help them. So really the biggest thing is just your timing on that fat bar. Your grips on the tacks. The athletes must keep their hands side by side. You cannot interlock your arms. Just a couple standards that we're looking for. You also cannot drop that bar.
Our coverage today brought to you in part by Fit Aid, the official recovery beverage of the CrossFit Games. For 20% off plus free shipping during the games, visit fitaid2020.com. Free shipping is valid for the USA, Canada, Europe, and Australia. Throwing another hitch to the mix, the athletes after the deadlifts have to jump back over the hay bales that are still on the north part field from event 11 this morning. Just adds one more hitch to the mix here. These synchronized handstand push-ups, they are strict, and it's interesting because we're not in a line next to each other. You have these quadrants, so it can be difficult to keep track of where your teammates are, but we expect that to be easy for CrossFit Mayhem 3.
And they were the first to the box. They were the first to the handstand push-ups, but they're looking really controlled in their movement so far on this round of 21.
Here's Pro 1 Montreal. They cut their deficit in half after event 11 this morning. They're now off the podium by just 23 points here.
The challenging thing about this handstand push-up being strict is that you know you're on pacing with what you can do. So the Pro 1 is struggling there on the handstand push-ups, needing to change their pace.
Not surprising with the strict handstand push-ups. No challenge for Rich Froning and company. Taylor Williamson is next to Rich Froning on the left, Andrea Nisler next to her, then Chase Hill on the far right side. Andrea Nisler has competed against CrossFit Mayhem so many times in her career, be it for Timberwolf or for OC3, and she said coming into this, she knows what it's like to compete against Mayhem. Now she's on the other side and a chance to win her first CrossFit Games championship. Just another event to go after this, and that 199-point win. There's Urban Energy in that podium fight. Just like before, they too cut their deficit in half to get up on the podium. They're tied 23 points back from CrossFit Surbiton in third. This is the round of 15 in time. You can see the flip of the athletes. We saw that in the word this morning. Talk about strategy, where people go on this deadlift.
Yeah, you need to have your men are going to be on the outside. That's going to be the smartest place to put them close to the weight. And just as that support the timing, the teams that have the biggest discrepancy in height, we're the ones that have to make the most adjustments.
You got a race for the podium here. In lane 3 on the left side of your screen. Still on the handstand push-ups is CrossFit Urban Energy. So a chance maybe slipping behind the wayside here in the second to last event at the 2021 World CrossFit Games.
And just to note, these synchronized handstand push-ups, what you're seeing athletes tilt their heads at the bottom of the different bars, they just have to be synchronized at the top. And that's the walkout.
Advance that barbell here for Mayhem. affect mayhem in the grand scheme of things, but it massively helps Pro 1.
But look at this. Pro 1 is already back to the bar. That was huge for Pro 1. I'm sorry. I said sorry. They're back over. They're back over already. They're on their handstand push-ups.
That's CrossFit Genas. That's now on the bar here on their round of 9. Pro 1 Montreal, they're one right past them. This is a massive 100 points in the bank for Pro 1 Montreal. 23 points off the podium at the start of the event, and the Canadians throwing down the gauntlet.
That was impressive. That fast at the end.
Here comes mayhem. Mayhem 5:16 is finished. It's CrossFit Genas who comes away with the win.
They were sitting there in that fifth place position, sixth place overall coming into this, so we stand corrected with the lead there.
Here comes CrossFit Resurrection, the Canadian team, in lane 9.
And this is where the teams just needing to go at that speed. Make sure you wrap up those final reps.
CrossFit Oslo in second place. They would have to have a lot happen for them to fall out of second. Looking for the best finish by a European team in the history of these games. And you can see, one at a time there on the handstand push-ups. Kick back down, make sure you're squared away with 9 reps on this final round. 1 rep to go. And now an absolute sprint to the finish with the 9-minute time cap. A couple of minutes off here in the distance. And CrossFit Surbiton is done in 7:01. So Surbiton trying to hang on to that final spot on the podium. Talked about CrossFit Pro 1. Stand corrected, thought it was them earlier. They are still out here on the field, currently in 7th place in the heat. As +6'4" CrossFit finishes in 6th in 7:20. And now here comes Pro 1. Genas will be helped out massively by their